Hey guys, this is Bass Fishing 1997. Today I'm going to go over some two of my favorite lures. First one is a swim jig. My two favorite swim jigs are a Strike King Tour Gate swim jig in bluegill color and a 30 jigs California swim jig in Alabama brown color. This is the dirty jigs one in Alabama brown color. Oh, my bad. I have a Reactions Innovations Little Dipper trailer on there in bad shad color. I think that's the best trailer because it just gives it a very nice swimming action and secondary action. That's what's so good about these swim jigs. Those are the only two swim jigs on the market that have secondary action when you have a trailer. Like when you watch a fish when it swims, it's not only just swimming in the water. Its fins are moving. Its tail's vibrating. That's what fish notice. And if you can find a bait like a swim jig that has secondary action when you throw it, you will catch a lot of fish. Now these baits, they have caught lots of big fish for me. Lots of little fish too, but when I'm fishing tournaments, there will always be a swim jig tied on one of my rods. Because no matter what time of the day, early morning, middle of the day, late afternoon, cold front, heat wave, low tide, high tide, no matter what, swim jigs will always catch fish. Now, these things are awesome, but trailers. A lot of people use crawfish trailers like packet crawls because they have good action. I'd use those in very grassy areas, like when it's nothing but when you're throwing the lily pads. I'd use those because I just think they look better. It's more natural than the lily pads because fish when they're swimming in the lily pads they're real moving, real erratic, trying to get through there. But when I'm in open water or deep water or clear water where I'm at, I usually throw a swim jig like the Reaction Innovation on it because it gives it a more natural wobble and it gets the skirt flaring back there like this to give it that secondary action. Now, on the Strike King swim jigs, they have a smaller weed guard. So these California swim jigs are built better for grass fishing. But I use these anywhere because they have better hooks than the Strike King swim jig, and they look good. But I just somehow catch more fish on the Strike King. But these are still great. I mean, I catch tons and tons of fish on these right here. But if you throw a swim jig in your tournament, you're gonna win some money. I promise you. Because I mean, they'll catch little fish and big fish. I've caught when I try to catch my limit, I throw something like the Strike King one with a trailer on it for the little fish, like 1 and 2 pounders, 3 pounders. That's the best bait you can ever throw for them. I throw them at night and they still kill them. But when I'm going for the kicker fish, I'm gonna be flipping and pitching and throwing the California swim jig. These things catch fish, big fish. Now to the next. Now I was gonna go over my rod and reel for swim jigs. When you're using a swim jig, you always want to use a heavier action rod. I have a 7-foot Vendetta right here with medium and heavy action with a fast taper. You always want to use braid because sometimes you gotta pull them out some nasty stuff. But I use 50-pound braid, Power Pro. And my reel, you usually want to use a fast reel for using these. Right now I got a Revo SX 7:1 gear ratio. With this is just a great reel. I mean, best reel I've owned really. And I've had a Quantum Strike King series with a flip and switch and Curados. But people say that SXs and Curados match up to each other evenly. But honestly, I think the Revo's a lot better. Just because how smooth it is. I've had this thing for 2 years and it's still just like it's brand new out of the box. And when my Curado, I had it for about a year and it started getting real nasty and making dirty noises when I reel it. But I mean, don't get me wrong, they're very good reels. Now next, I'm going to go over some flipping and pitching. Now for flipping and pitching, that's my big fish technique. Like when they're not biting a swim jig, when it's very rarely, or when I just want to do something different, I'll be flipping and pitching. Hey, be quiet. Sorry, that's my little sister playing in the water. But when I flip and pitch, I always use a heavy action rod. Heavy action with a pretty fast taper, because you want that taper for softness. Softness lets you have accuracy and feel the fish better. And I use a 7-foot Vendetta heavy action. I mean, these are great rods. Be quiet. But the bait I use is my favorite flipping bait is a Dirty Jigs half-ounce flipping jig in watermelon or black and blue. These things are great. They flare out extremely well. They flare probably about the size of half my hand, and I have a huge hand. But they flare out real well, and the best trailer to flip and pitch with on these is either a net bait packer craw in watermelon red, or a can't think of what they're called. Reaction Innovations Sweet Beaver 420. But those are two great trailers. They have great action. But when I'm in clear water, I really want a really natural color. So around here, I'll give you a shot of the water in a minute. It's extreme clear. It's just like a bottle of water. I'm going to use a very natural color that looks like either a crawfish or bluegill. And watermelon does that perfectly. If they had a bluegill color flipping jig, I'd use it. But they don't. So I'm going with the watermelon. But you want something. When I'm fishing this around wood, I'm always going to use the packer craw, because it looks like a fish trying to get through the wood, how they go up and down through it. But when you use these, you always want to flip it right. I see people flipping like this. See what I mean? You can't flip like that. It's just not going to happen. It's not accurate. And if you ain't accurate when you're flipping and pitching, you might as well not flip and pitch, because it's all about accuracy and placement. And if you splash real loud, going up like this, listen. Went through the hole. Through the hole in the dock, my bad. When you do this right here, listen. See how loud that is? People do that on the water, it splashes, and it scares the fish when you're in shallow water or when they're very pressured. So if you do it my way is to put it by your armpit, rod length, rod down, and barely lift up like that. It wouldn't hit the dock. But if you do that right there, it's a lot easier, more accurate and everything. Right on camera. I'm telling you, it's a lot easier, a lot funner, and you'll catch some fish. Left-handed. I can't hit the camera because the camera's about the size of a pinhead on my iPad, but hitting close to it. But yeah, I hope these tips help. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to go over this. I use a 7-foot heavy action Vendetta for flipping and pitching. 80-pound Power Pro, and I usually use a Curado, but mine, like I said, messed up the other day, so I just bought a cheap little Black Max. I mean, it's a good reel. It's not as fast as it was. It's very smooth, but it just doesn't have as good as casting and power, I think. And these are great. Flipping and pitching is a great thing for big fish. If you want to use a smaller jig like a 3/8, that catches a lot of fish. That catches a lot of fish. That catches numbers of fish. I just said that 3 times. But it catches a lot of fish, and the half-ounce catches bigger fish, or when it's muddier water. I think those are two things that make a difference. People think that jig size doesn't matter, but to me, it makes the most difference in the world. Because when fish see it, they're thinking, is that natural? Is that the size of the baits around here? But is that forage? Is that realistic forage? But these are all great baits. I'll do a new tackle box video. I looked like an idiot in my last one, but the definite highlight of this video is a swim jig. Someone just shot a deer. But that right there is the definite highlight of the video. The Dirty Jigs. Always buy Dirty Jigs. They are great company. They are always high quality, and they always do a good job. But this is a Dirty Jig California swim jig in Alabama brim with a Reaction Innovations Little Dipper and Bad Shad. Gives it great action, and you're going to catch some fish. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you would, I'd very much enjoy that. And if you If you subscribe to me, tell me that in the comments, and I'll be back to help you out. Thank you.